Hello, my name is Gracie. I love to read. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another weekly reading vlog. Okay, I'm kind of against the clock. I yap a lot in my videos and I have to leave to get a train because I'm actually not going to be at home for the next week. I still wanted to try and do a weekly reading vlog with you guys and take you along with me. I'm going to show you the stuff that I'm taking and the things that I'm aiming to read this week. Firstly, I want to show you some book tabs that I have, which are really cute, which my girlfriend's mom got me, and they are little cats, and I'm going to finally be using them. This may be overkill because I'm only going for a week, but I want to make sure that I'm fully prepared. Firstly, I have this notebook. This is what I write like snippets of poetry in if inspiration hits, but also I've been writing speeches in here for like books that I'm reading because I can't think on the spot a lot of the time. So I write a little speech here and I prop it up against my tripod and read from it. So I'm taking that with me. I'm taking this little notebook with me. This is kind of just all of my bookish thoughts and I will write them in here. I love this notebook. Next is my journal, obviously going to be bringing this. I actually haven't journaled that much over the last 2 weeks, which is surprising because I thought that I would. So taking this in the hope that I will at least journal once. I did not journal at all. Then I have this notebook. This is my writing notebook. I have a couple of creative projects that I'm trying to work on right now. They're in the very early stages of planning, but in case I want to further that, I will take this with me. Then what you're probably most excited about, what I'm most excited about, are the books. These, if you watch my last video, my last weekly reading video, you will not be shocked because it's the same books because I didn't read all of them, but I am wanting to finish Invisible Women hopefully on the train today, if not just across the week. I've got about 80 pages left because the rest is just notes, but I am loving this so far. This has changed my view on everything. This has been so enlightening to read and I'm very excited to finish this. I reference it all the time. This honestly, life-changing. The other book that I'm taking with me is Emma by Jane Austen. I wanted to listen to the audiobook as well as reading along with this book. I am hoping to start this on the train and just read it throughout the week, but I don't know if I'll finish it. I'm coming back on Friday, so I still have Saturday and Sunday to hopefully make sure that these books are finished in time for next week, but they are my reading plans and I have to go get my train now, so I will see you in the rest of the video. I hope you enjoy. It is now Thursday and I haven't updated you in a really long time, but I actually have reason to update you now because I finished my current read. If you want to hear my thoughts on the first 2/3 of this book, then that's in my other video, but I'm going to speak about the last third of this book, kind of what it talks about, a little summary, and give my overall review. So the last part of the book is definitely really hard to read. It's infuriating to read and very relevant to now. It talks about women in politics, it talks about women and climate change. So one of the chapters that I read speaks about how white male bias is seen as normal and common sense, and simply because it reflects their experience back to them, male bias is seen as gender neutrality, which obviously it's not. Perez then speaks about women in politics and how it's a profession filled with violence, sexism and harassment. Perez argues that women in our generation must face these threats and violence so that women in the next generation don't have to. In a world that is so saturated with male voices, Perez basically speaks about the fear of men having their voices taken from them, and that is so infuriating to read when you're reading how much women are disadvantaged, especially in the political world. The last part talks about climate change and how women are affected more by natural disasters and pandemics than men are, but the data between men and women still isn't separated, so we actually don't know the reason for this, we don't know how we can prevent it. It also talks about refugee centres and how these are supposed to be a place of protection, but they're not, and a lot of refugees are women who are fleeing violent households or war, which also Perez speaks about how war is incredibly harsh on women, how war leads to an increase in sexual harassment of women and sexual assault on women, and basically speaks about these refugee centres as something that's supposed to protect, but most of the time they don't, and they are also rife with sexual harassment and assault due to the lack of privacy that women face and just the fact that they are not tailored to women's needs at all. So overall, this book covers everything. It covers so many professions, it covers so many countries and does not leave anyone out. It speaks about all women. It's honestly an incredible book. It's so relevant to now, and like I said, it's infuriating and maddening to read, but it's so important. I will never shut up about this book. Please read it if you can. 5 stars from the beginning. Incredible. The book that I'm going to start now is Emma by Jane Austen. I have said in previous videos that I've started this book before, but like I've never finished it. I've never got into it. And I know you may be thinking, why are you reading it if you don't like it? Well, I don't like Jane Austen, but I feel like I can't hate on her fully unless I've read all of her books, because I feel like then I'm not having a full, well-rounded opinion of her. I'm just basing it off of 1 or 2 books of hers that I didn't really like. I'll let you know how I get along with that. I really want to like it. I really want to like Jane Austen. She's just not my cup of tea. If I feel like this book is also leading towards that way, or if this book is making me feel negative feelings like the other ones did. But yeah, I'm gonna start this now. Just as a heads up, I get really frustrated at this book and I do tell you all of my unfiltered thoughts. I do realise at the end of the vlog that I have made a mistake in my judgment of Jane Austen. I still rant about her a lot and I still don't like the book. So if you are a big fan of Emma, you might not want to watch this, because I do have many negative feelings towards Emma. And please don't hate me for my opinion. I know that I could absolutely be wrong and probably have misunderstood the book, but I hope you enjoy my rants and rambles either way. Okay, I have my little snack plate. I've got a cookie and some watermelon. I need some fuel. I need some fuel to keep going. But I'm here to talk about my particular wearisome feelings towards this book. I don't want to give up on it because I feel like I can't say bad things about this book unless I've finished it, because it might get better. I've just reached the halfway point, so it might get better. I don't think that Jane Austen is great with characterization, which sucks because that's all of her books. They don't really have a plot. This is what I'm struggling with this book. I know that Jane Austen is said to be satirical. She's supposed to be comic. I don't find the characters funny. I find them so annoying and I'm really struggling with this. Essentially, I think Emma is the most arrogant character I've ever read, and I think that she's supposed to change. But also, I've read half the book and she's not showing any signs of changing. She had one humbling moment. I think she needs a lot more humbling moments. But I think that Emma judges everybody. I think that everyone is either too vulgar, imprudent, improper, too talkative, not talkative enough, too rich, too poor. She looks down on everyone. Anyone that's more poor than she is, she looks down on them. Anyone who hasn't come from wealth, she looks down on them. She's so incredibly arrogant and so rude. She's so classist to anyone who's less fortunate than she is, which is most people, because she's really rich. She hates Jane Fairfax, who is a lovely person. She hates Jane Fairfax because she's jealous of her, firstly, but also because she's like, oh, Jane is really quiet, like she doesn't have an opinion. However, all of Emma's opinions are just gossip about people. They're just like, you know, saying horrible things about people. No one can ever do anything entirely right in Emma's mind, and it's so tiring to read. Tiring to read because the characters are insufferable. It's tiring to read because they talk about utter nonsense. It's not even good gossip. This is this. The gossip in this book isn't even good gossip. There's no descriptions, no setting, no plot apart from the dull day-to-day of rich people who just chat about literally every person, everyone. And yes, it's social commentary. Yes, it may be satirical, but it really just shows how sensitive, classist, and all-round ridiculous this society is. I know the characters are supposed to be imperfect to give them depth, but I think it actually makes them really shallow and unlikable. And I think that kind of sums up my thoughts, really. Things are about to get heated. I hate this. I hate not finishing books, and I wanted to give it a chance. I wanted to give it a go, and I'm still going to finish it. I've got 110 pages left, but I have read absolutely enough for today. I read 190 pages today, and it just did not get better. It just angered me so much. So I don't think Jane Austen is feminist at all, even for her time. I think that she constantly compares, ridicules, and pits her women against each other. And I think that that's ridiculous. In this book, all it is just Emma and every other woman in the text just saying horrible things about another woman, comparing her with another woman, placing all of a woman's worth on her looks. And yes, a lot of people will argue that that's just how it was at the time. That's like what society is. And yes, this may be good social commentary, but I think it's completely tedious. All it does is show women to be insufferable, jealous gossips. And I don't particularly love that. I also hate the thoughts on the poor. Like, there's a bit right at the beginning where Emma goes, "It's nice to think about them. That shows that we care, but we can't think about it too much because that will make us feel sad." And she literally says that it's enough to feel compassionate towards the poor. This girl who is so rich and so judgmental of anyone below her class. And I just think it's ridiculous to say something like that. You can't say, "Oh, I've thought about the poor." That's enough. Very questionable quote on slavery. And maybe I misunderstood it. So basically, one of the main characters, Jane, is quite poor. And that's one of the reasons that Emma looks down on her, but also because Emma is jealous of her, all of Jane's talents. But they're talking about Jane getting some sort of job, and basically there's a misunderstanding, and one of the characters thinks that Jane is talking about going into the slave trade. And then Jane says, "I was not thinking of the slave trade. Governess trade, I assure you, was all that I had in view. Widely different, certainly, as to the guilt of those who carry it on, but as to the greater misery of the victims, I do not know where it lies." To my understanding, that is her saying she doesn't know whether it's a greater misery to be a governess or a slave. Now, I'm really hoping I misunderstood that quote. That's an incredibly out of touch thing to say, like, even in that time. Okay, again, I don't think I explained this very well. I think that if we're going with Jane Austen being satirical, then that quote is supposed to show how out of touch the rich are. However, because all of her characters kind of get their happy endings, and because all of her characters just get away with it, like it doesn't challenge those comments, and that's where I think it becomes a bit problematic, because yes, it may be satire, but it also doesn't challenge these views that are being put forward. It just kind of depicts them. I have just finished reading Emma, and I do have to own up to a mistake that I made. I was under the impression that Jane Austen was a rich, wealthy woman, and I looked it up, and actually she wasn't. She was very middle class, middle of the road, and I didn't know that. And now it makes a lot more sense why her works are said to be satire. And I do get that, because she's clearly poking fun at the rich because her characters are so unlikable, and her plots seem so happy and easily resolved, and everyone gets their way in the end. And I know that that just shows how the rich get everything that they want, no matter how much they suck. As much as now I do understand that it is satire, and I give Jane Austen credit for that, I still did not enjoy the book at all. Whatever the meaning is, I still absolutely hated it. So I do own up for my mistake. I still just don't really think that I'm a fan of her writing style, and I don't enjoy reading a book filled with complete unlikable characters. You know, I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to relate to the characters in some way or root for some of the characters, and I genuinely despise them all. So I wanted to start off by talking about Emma and Harriet's friendship. It starts off with Harriet, who is quite poor. She's not got a good background. We don't know who her parents are. We see Emma take her in and try to elevate her above her class. And Emma's constantly reminding Harriet of her class, but because she thinks Harriet is beautiful, she wants to make Harriet believe that she deserves better, which obviously she does. She deserves to get any man that she wants to marry. But Emma fills her head with these infatuations and with this love and desire for people that Harriet cannot have, and it destroys Harriet so many times. It makes her so upset, and yet Emma never, in my opinion, feels sorry enough. It wasn't until Harriet said that she loved Mr. Knightley, Emma then was like, "Oh, wait, I like Mr. Knightley," and then went and married the guy, hurt Harriet's feelings. And yes, thank God for her, everything turned out okay. But also, what kind of friend does that when firstly you're so adamant against marriage the entire book? And the stuff that she then said about Harriet, when she was thinking about the idea of Harriet marrying Mr. Knightley, it was so rude. And essentially, Emma sees herself as being vain, sees herself as being arrogant and mistaken but only in relation to herself. She doesn't care about what happens to others unless it relates to how her image is challenged, or unless it relates to how she feels about herself. Like, she doesn't actually care about other people's welfare. And she said that for Mr. Knightley to marry Harriet, it would be such a debasement on his side. She wishes that she had never brought Harriet forward. She wishes she had left her where she ought. And that infuriated me. I know I've said that word so much, but she only has a realization about being wrong, but she is still just as classist, and she's not happy for Harriet at all. She only regrets her actions because Harriet might get something that she wants. She literally says she would not marry even if she were asked by Mr. Knightley. It must be her ardent wish that Harriet might be disappointed. So she's saying that she wouldn't even say yes to Mr. Knightley, but that she couldn't bear the thought of Harriet getting with him instead. Ridiculous. I wrote in the back of the book that whether satirical, supposed social commentary, or a critique of snobbery, it absolutely missed the mark with me, and I failed to understand it at all. Whatever meaning was intended, I saw only shallow, unlikable characters, women depicted extremely unfavourably as judgmental, fickle, or jealous, plot and pacing as dull and drawn out, relationships that came out of nowhere and were not properly developed, and a society so arrogantly classist that I was frustrated the entire book. I only liked Jane, who ended up with an utter prick, and Harriet, whose life was so very nearly ruined. So, to wrap up, yes, I get that that's the point of the book. You're supposed to be angry, and the characters, I guess, are supposed to be shallow, but I do not get along with the writing style. I am a little nervous of posting this review because I think I have a very strong hatred towards this book, or at least I have shown a very strong hatred through this video. And I do now get the point. I do get what her books stand for now, but I don't enjoy them. I appreciate what they stand for, I really do. I just don't think that I like books that make me this angry. I definitely think that Jane Austen is a thought-provoking author. I do learn a lot from her books. I do find her works quite dull, and I've read quite a few classics, and I just don't think that this one is to my taste. Okay, I'm going to end the vlog here. This is a slightly shorter one this week. I just ranted a lot about two separate books. Whether you agree with my opinions or not, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that I will see you in the next one.